our education program. Why should we train people to do something that's in the near future could be done by something else? Nowadays, we're hiring juniors, but very experts in using cloud code or something else. For me, the teacher of the next years should be a facilitator. That should be someone who would be there to facilitate the knowledge.
Mohamed Saad is a Moroccan IT executive, author, and thought leader with over 30 years of experience across technology, finance, and industrial sectors.
The whole system, the whole education system should be refounded and should be re-questioned, and unfortunately that debate is not there.
What is your advice to young generation now? What happens to these junior people? How do you see the future? Do you think that Morocco can be a world class in the technology sector? Welcome to 0 to N, the real code of transformation. Today I had the pleasure to have with me a special guest, Mohamed Saad. Mohamed Saad is the Deputy CEO of the Casablanca Stock Exchange, and he is also the president of the Association of Information Systems Users in Morocco. He has spent many years, more than 30 years, in technology, in finance, in the industry, and he has been one of the ambassadors and one of the change makers in Morocco, pitching and leading different companies and trying to teach how organizations should transform, how organizations needs to evolve using digital transformation. So Mohammed is also an author. He has actually created and wrote a couple of books, and one of them is what you see here, How Digital Leads to Excellence. And it's a book that we will be discussing about as well in this episode. So in this episode, usually I start with the turning point. I start a little bit deep diving into the life of the person. We'll do that more towards the end of the episode. But what I wanted to start with, to ask you, Mohammed, is the concept behind the podcast is 0 to N, the real code of transformation. How you start from zero to create impact, to create transformation. How do you start from zero and you influence the world around you? And you are one of the advocates of this. So I would like to understand, what is your 0 to N? How do you define this? And basically, what's your N as well? So if you can start from here, and then we can go into the other topics.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rachid. And thank you for inviting me, and I wish a long life to your podcast, which is very impacting. I saw some of your prior episodes, and that's why I was, let's say, totally say yes about this invitation. So starting with this question, yes, from 0 to N. So my first question is, where's the zero stands? Where was the zero? Is that the day when you were born? Is that the day when you left your home? Is that the day when, I don't know, you have your first maybe employment agreement? So the zero could not be defined like that. The zero is lasting for many years. You know, when constructing a building, a personality, it comes over years and years, maybe centuries. So I'm the product of, my family for sure, but for sure my tribe. And I came like that. I was born in Casablanca, and Alhamdulillah, I'm very proud of my staying in Casablanca, but also my Moroccan nationality, citizenship, which is rooted in Africa, rooted in this part of the world, and that's good. So talking about the N, and it's very wise and smart that you mentioned that it's an N. We talked already about it.
Mm-hmm.
It is an N. It is infinite. It's not a Z. It's an N. So where the N stands, I don't know if I'm reaching the N now, because still maybe I'm 58, but still the N is unreachable. It is infinite, and I'm sure we'll come to this later. So the N is infinite. What's the journey between the zero and the N is a human being journey, which is one of maybe I have experienced it all along my life, is improving, going step by step, building over a step, a prior step. That could be a success. That could be maybe something worse, but building, construction, in improving. And that's the end. The is infinite, as I mentioned, and we'll talk about it later.
So talking about infinity, Si Mohammed, you call yourself an infinity gamer, or you pitch the infinite game. What does it mean, infinite game, for you? And why do you associate yourself with it?
Yes, a wonderful question. I discovered that infinite game when I read about James Carsey. James Carsey is a university teacher, an American guy. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2020. But the concept was pushed in the light by Simon Sinek. So one of his bestsellers is The Infinite Game.
Yeah.
Finite Game versus infinite game. So what is the finite game? A finite game is a football match, for example, or a tennis match. So it would end at a certain time. It is 90 minutes. That could be 190 after penalties, but there are gonna be a winner and a loser. A finite game will end by a loser. So there's something between two parties, a winner and unfortunately there's a loser. So that's infinite game. Players are known, the rules are known, and there's always, all time, a loser at the end of the party. The infinite game is totally different. The infinite game is something that would last. And the core idea of an infinite game is that we have to perpetuate the game. So when we're talking about education, for example, is it a finite or an infinite game? For sure, it's an infinite, because there could not be a loser at the end of the game. We have to perpetuate the game. When talking about the marriage, a marriage between two people, there should be an infinite game because they're gonna have children and they have to perpetuate the game. So at the end, in the core of the idea that there should be something lasting forever, improved and lasting forever. And that's my, let's say, my motto. Let's say also that's something I'm defending, is that in this low world, in our existence, we should defend that infinite infinite struggle about something much bigger. That could be education, health, etc., etc.
So does it mean that you, as humans, you should not set targets that are you will try or strive to achieve? Because if you set the targets, it's finite. It's like you reach there, and then there is nothing else that comes afterwards. But if that concept or philosophy is correct, what happens then to the way organization works? Because in you set targets, there is promotions associated with it. That's how the society grow, because you set fixed targets at a certain time.
Thank you very much for this question, because we're gonna maybe go deeply in the understanding of the finite game. A finite game could be a set of an infinite game, could be a set of finite games. So let's say we are heading and we're putting, let's say, an aim, a goal, and we have to build upon that goal to reach another upper state. Let's give an example. I have stated, for example, a very critical project at the stock exchange to put the matching engine, which is one of the best in the world nowadays. Casablanca Stock Exchange is using the same system as the London Stock Exchange.
Nice.
They are using nowadays. But the aim is not that implementing that system and stay unstuck in that state. We have to build on that system. So a finite game is, yes, there was a goal. We have stated that in 2016, but we have to build on that. And the story is, upon that achievement, we have to launch new products. we have to attract new investors, we have to serve the ecosystem. And based on that goal achieved in 2016, we have to build a new achievement. But the story behind the Infinite Game is that to leverage our maturity, to serve in the best way the Moroccan economy, and that's an infinite game. You can never reach that final state to say, hey, we have
You have
achieved
done it.
everything.
Yeah.
It's done. We can sleep on it. No, it's an
It's
infinite.
always there's always continuous improvement. There's
Exactly.
always it's a succession of multiple, let's say, goals,
You're right.
targets in order to, and there's no end eventually.
You're
So
right.
it still evolves, it still thrives, and so
Exactly.
on.
Education, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. So today, if we take, let's say, an organization, so, and we will talk a little bit about the transformation, and so especially in the context of Morocco, how do you see this applied to organization?
So transformation, as it was maybe emphasized by Heraclitus, 2,500 years ago, Pantare,
Mm-hmm.
continuous change, continuous transformation. So you can never step in the same river twice. That was said by Heraclitus
Yeah.
2,500 years ago. So transformation is not a state you're gonna reach. It's not an objective. It's not an aim that's gonna end at a certain time. By maybe implementing, if talking about digital transformation, it's not gonna end at a certain time by implementing, I don't know, an application, a website, an ERP, something, I don't know, AI, all that stuff we're talking about nowadays. So that should be a continuous state. We're going to reach an objective, but we have to build on that objective and to reach more and to push more and to attract more and to give more to our clients, to our stakeholders. So transformation, if it is well inculcated in organization, especially at the board, because that's something coming from top, the CEO and the board should be well convinced that these are states we're gonna reach, but we have to build on it to reach more and more and more objectives and more aims.
So how do you start a digital transformation if you are, let's say, an organization, a family-owned business? You have done the same business for many, many years. It's very successful. Your business is thriving, it's profitable. How do you start this? You still know that the market is there, you still have a big pie to eat.
You're right.
But with that mindset of everything worked well until today, I don't need any transformation in my business. It works, everything is fine. Why would I change? So how do you break that, and how do would you start this transformation?
So why is it an easy question? Because that's the aim of the book I have written, and the book is a framework of how to inculcate a digital transformation in any company. That could be an association, that could be a small company, a big company, a state company, a government company. So the first step is that we have to be aware of what digital could bring to the company. So it's not a technical question. It's not about putting the latest technology
Like
in
customer needs
in
and the pain points they have and how.
Exactly. So we have to start with that awareness. The CEO and his board, they have to be aware of what is the digital, and digital starts by inculcating this new way of doing business in the strategy, within the strategy. So it means that you should have a strategy, you should have a vision, you should know where you're heading, you should know what your competitors are doing, what's done around the world, do your benchmark, and say how I can put that service or that product between the hands of my customer without stepping or queuing
It's
hours. So nowadays, why is it called digital? That's because all services and products are reachable kind of using your smartphone or your laptop, and you can reach you can buy, you can complain, and the company is behind the screen.
Mm.
So it is done by 2-3 clicks. So putting that and inculcating that in a vision, that's the main step.
Mm.
So this for me, that's the critical step, and we have to be not only aware, but we have to be um, within that way of thinking. That's a new way of thinking, and that should be known not only by the CEO and his board, but by the guy who is in front of the door welcoming a clients coming to the company. He should be aware of that. So
Mm. So it's like a vision strategy that starts from the top and then it goes down to every single
You're right.
employee within the organization.
You're right.
It also starts with knowing what your customer needs,
Exactly.
and from there you build the tools in order to solve a specific problem they have.
You're right.
So, and also, I think a lot of organizations, they will jump into every shiny object. There is like a tool, there's this AI solution, let's just implement it.
That's
And
it.
the goal becomes the AI tool then actually solving a business
Totally
problem that
right.
the companies have.
Totally right.
So your approach is, okay, let's set the vision, let's set the strategy, and let's probably hear the customers. Let's listen to them, let's gather all their needs, and then we can create services,
You're right.
and the tools become, let's say, an enabler to the transformation,
Exactly.
and they don't become the goal itself.
Exactly.
So have you had the experience dealing with like family-owned businesses in Morocco, and have you seen that what I noticed is that a lot of them talk about change, but they actually don't change. So what would be your advice to these like CEOs and the owners of these companies?
So what is amazing nowadays is that everyone could have access to the latest technology, while reading the same books.
Yeah.
We're hiring same people, graduating from US, Europe, and Ivy League universities all around the world. So accessing same skills, having same technology, as I said. So the most important is that what is your audacity to face pain created by change and transformation. So if you are a CEO and you're not scared about the change, you are going to push your people around you and go ahead. So technology is there, consultants is there. So it needs only to train people to have the right technology, not trying this and that and dropping this, having another technology that's because you heard about it, that's a friend of yours or cousin called you to say, yeah, I know someone who could inculcate, I don't know, Cloud X, Y, Z. So, but just having that map, but another time going with that map and trying to conduct those this strategy in action. So that transformation of the essay, as we say, transformation de l'essai, is the most important, is the most important to go ahead. So a lot of people could conduct maybe the best strategies coming from BCG, McKinsey, XYZ, but transforming the essay is the last stuff that would lead you to the success. So that's important.
I like what you said about the fact that the leadership needs to be aware that there's pain with the change, and they have to kind of live with it, because change is quite painful, and it's especially if you are in an organization that is where you have operated the same way for many years.
Yes.
So it's very hard for people to change.
Sure.
So some of them will leave you, some of them will
Sure.
needs to be trained.
Exactly.
And upscale. You need to upscale them for them to adopt the new way of thinking. So how do you embark? So imagine you are a business leader and you wanna change because you have received the feedback from the customers and you wanna digitalize some of your services. So how do you embark the people with you?
So first, it's a long time. It's a long time project. It means that those people, I don't know, you will have some who are 20 years seniority,
Yeah.
30 years seniority, and those who have just joined the company. So it means that you have a gap of culture,
Mm.
very, very, very important. So it means that you have to align people and see who. It comes to my mind a famous book, From Good to Great,
Ah.
and for sure you'll have a group of people who are ready to embark. They are hungry,
Mm.
they're hungry to give, and they're hungry to go, and they're hungry to push the company to go ahead. And you have some who are not. So those people, for sure, you have maybe to try to embark
Mm.
them. If it's okay, that's good. If it's not, don't waste time, trying to push them to
Mm.
embark. So for sure, you need some, those key people in different processes, different departments who would push their colleagues to go ahead.
It's like
So with those
ambassadors. You need some
ambassadors,
ambassadors.
that's it,
Yeah.
exactly. So you have to use those people
Mm.
because they're going to give the example to the others to go ahead. Well, let's try this way of doing stuff to automate process, use this technology, applications and this and that, software, etc., etc. So there are those people who are going to sow, the that way of doing things
Mm.
differently, and go ahead. And for me, people, I think over those last 30 or 40 years, technology have scaled. But people, they stayed with the same, fear of change. Uh, that's because uh, you're impacting the way of doing, they're doing stuff daily.
Mm.
They're spending 10 hours a day
Doing
doing stuff
digital.
the same way
Yeah.
for 20 years, 30
Yeah.
years. So the day you're going to push them to do it differently,
Push back.
for sure, people, human being is like that. And
I've seen organization when they try to do a transformation, and it was decided from the board.
Hmm.
The users or the managers, they push back, and because the business depend a lot on them,
Hmm.
because this is a people dependent business, it doesn't depend on system. All the knowledge is in the head of people. Then actually the board and the leaderships, they stop the transformation because they cannot proceed with it. Because if one of those guys leave the
Yes.
company, they are in big trouble.
Yeah.
Because they know the supplier, they know
Crazy.
and they try to do it very smooth, or they just stop. They don't do the transformation at all. I have seen a lot of companies like this. What would do if you were in their shoes?
Yeah, crazy stories, and I've lived many, all over those 30 something years. And for sure, it depends on the culture of the company. Sometimes they have a leader who is there. He would, put his word on the table and maybe surround himself by people and push people. You have also to put some enablers to push people to follow you.
Mm.
But if not, for sure, maybe the company could lose a lot if you wait for those people lagging behind and not willing to follow you. So instead of maybe lose, I don't know, 100 years company with maybe 100 people, better for you to lose maybe 10,
Yeah.
10, 10 people. If they are not willing to follow you, just let them to their own.
Yeah.
And go ahead with your company. And I saw many SMEs, especially. One of those comes to my mind when I visited him 10 years ago. And I told him, very nice company, 50 people, 10 billion dirhams turnover, doing good. And when I told him about his digital maturity, he told me, no, 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 I don't need that because, software and those companies, partners implementing software at the company, they were not good. So he tried 2 3 times and he was very disappointed. When I went to see him, 3 years ago,
Mhm.
I told him, what about your maturity. He told me, yeah, with my Odoo ERP, without my Odoo ERP, I could do nothing. My turnover, my warehouse, everything is on my system. So the change was, it took him, I don't know, 4 or 5 years to realize that nowadays now he has everything, his key indicators on his smartphone, and he showed me, I could follow my turnover, the warehouse, the
So
supply
he
chain,
has an
everything on my.
visibility
So
about everything, yeah.
so the maturity, but still you need leaders who would see smartly that they could go ahead, company could do better, could go ahead, and again, it's a human being willing.
So when you talked about human beings and also the importance of change in an organization, how important is upskilling people, the education part, and bringing in like youngest probably to the organization? How is it important when it comes to digital transformation?
I think it's not important, it's vital and it's critical. What comes to my mind is, I don't know if you heard about that balanced scorecard,
Yeah.
Kaplan and Norton.
Yeah.
And the story comes to that if you would like to maybe evaluate a company, you have four major indicators instead of one, because a lot of company would assess the performance of a company based on its financial indicators, key indicators. So Kaplan and Norton, they said that you have four main axes, four main indicators. One of them is the upskilling of people. It means that if you want to run a marathon, it depends on those people if they are they willing, are they ready to run the marathon. If they are not trained to run a marathon, they were not. You cannot. So if not, they're upskilled. If they are not trained, if they are not upskilled, if they are not aware of what's done on their field, on their sector, core business at the right time, they're not willing to run a marathon. Even though if you're a leader who run, I don't know, 10 marathons a day or a month or a year, if your people they are not, you cannot go
Of course.
ahead. So
It's a team. It's a team game. If
So that's-
the whole team does not run in the same direction, then
Yes.
you will not be
so
able to.
that's an investment, and I don't know if you know that famous tale about a CFO who went to see his CEO. He said that if we train people, they could leave, and his CEO said,
we
but
don't train
if not, they will stay. So
Of course. So another topic I think we started discussing it in the break that I wanted to bring with regards to transformation, and it's the knowledge. Today, you mentioned as well just earlier that the knowledge is there. Everything is there today.
yes,
So for a company to actually grow, they know exactly what needs to be done because they can just search in any model and they can find. So if knowledge is there, what differentiate people and what differentiate organizations moving forward?
yeah, sure. So have access to the same technology.
Yeah.
That could be in Silicon Valley or in Bangalore and Casablanca or
Everywhere.
in Tangier or in Laayoune. We have access to the same to the latest
I think
technology.
before it was like this, companies have this secret sauce. They have a secret sauce that nobody knows and then they keep doing the same.
Exactly.
But today it's maybe they're available. Everything is available.
Everything is there.
Yeah.
Everything is there. Ask Claude, you can have everything you want about your
Yeah.
competitor in China or in Tokyo, whatever in the world. So we have access to the latest technology, same technology, latest technology. You can train people, your people, on the latest technology. You can have the latest way how to maybe refund your processes. So the only thing that would differentiate us is to contextualize the use of technology. So let's say, for example, you're using an LLM.
Mm-hmm.
but your LLM is not trained on your culture, company culture, that could be local culture, dialects as well. So you have the contextualization is very important. The way how to implement ethically the technology is different. We don't have the same reglementation, we don't have the same culture, so that's something that may be affordable in China or in US that could not be in maybe in Morocco or elsewhere in the world. So that's the way of also adapting before adopting is something very important. So, and that's something only human being could analyze that. I don't know, expecting an AGI maybe in the near future that maybe could replace human being in that way of taking that point of view. But for me, adapting before adopting is very important. To search also of the context, to use technology is also important, and that's a human being. That should be a human being touch.
I think the other thing that I saw with, for example, my team, when we talk about, let's say, how do we go to this market? What is our strategy? What is our go-to-market strategy? How do we build in the marketing content, campaigns, whatever? So everything you ask Claude or whatever LLM model, you get the strategies there. But what I notice is that the execution part, when there is no... The execution is actually one of the key differentiators today, because there are people who can execute fast. There are people who takes time and they iterate and they think and it doesn't happen. So the execution is one of the elements, and also the critical thinking. So when you get the input, the output is thinking about, okay, whether this is actually quite good for me, for my organization or not. And that, I feel like those skill set, they need to be developed even more. Otherwise, even though you have access to the knowledge, if you don't have this tool, you cannot go far.
You're right.
Do you see this as well in your organization?
Agility is very important. Agility is very, very important. It's vital. It's critical. Maybe you're going to run or drive at 100% miles an hour. I will do maybe more. I will be maybe less. So that would differentiate the
Between the
company from
organization.
another. If we're gonna spend I don't know 10 meetings, maybe more, to have a decision about certain points, certain subject, if someone else could do it in 2 meetings, he is gonna be more effective than me. So this is very important, and maybe we have inherited that way of procrastination, and spending a lot of time dwelling on some stuff that could go easily, and fast to have that decision. Sometimes it would take especially for big companies, it would take a lot of time. That's because the hierarchy is very deep. Versus a certain company that could be a family-owned company, because they are a little bit agile. So there's a bureaucracy, but the advantage is that we can take a decision easily. So this is very important. Then the move to action, as you mentioned, second point, is also very, very important. So we can spend a year, since we have a map and a strategy, maybe put it in action, and someone else would maybe just maybe take decisions in maybe 2 meetings or easily, and move to action and build on a first action, second action, and go ahead. And that's important.
I've seen a lot of companies today, especially lately, that they are it's a one-man company. And this one-man company, basically, they are using AI agents across all the departments. And there's even a lot, some of them are ambitious to create a unicorn, like a one-man unicorn. Using do you think that this is the future of organizations in a couple of years?
For sure, that's something that would shake, at least that would shake, that stability, that statu quo of companies and organizations. If I can do more and go fast with the agents, and
Because the decisions are fast.
that's it.
Execution, if you have some agent that can execute fast, 24 by 7.
Exactly.
There's no emotions, there is no politics, there is no.
Sure.
So you think that this can be like the future? At least it can come in and disrupt the whole market.
That's something we're living today.
Yeah.
More or less, not with the same pace. That could be something in Silicon Valley, US, and elsewhere. That's something nowadays being experimented. That's something coming and should come in, in the very near future in our markets. Still, just we need to jump from the poke to the production and the real achievements, and that's something coming in the near future. We'll see in the near future, those kind of agents, but also used in our companies.
So can you, say Mohammed, can you paint the future for us to the way you see it? If let's say AI and LLM models, they have more knowledge, not more knowledge because they already have today. They are better than humans in the execution, in everything that a human can do. How do you see the future?
Well, let's say, let's put it in that finite and infinite game framework. I won't say that they would be better than human beings, but they were augments. They were support human beings to be more effective, and that's good. If I can have an agent that would, filter my email box and maybe revert back in
Reply
an
to
effective
some.
manner, exact, to some emails, or maybe filter and maybe spend less time reading that 100 emails I would receive each day. That's good. So, and we can extrapolate on other
But
subjects.
this is already possible. This is
That's
already,
it,
yeah,
exactly.
the agent can already do
So why not?
this.
Yes.
So, but you use the word, you use augmentation. So, like 2 or 3 years ago, we used to believe that the technology and this all LLM models can augment the intelligence of humans. But what we realized lately is actually not augment, is actually replace. So in many functions, for example, in our company, we use a lot of agents.
Yes.
Before 2 years back, we would have hired a person for that, but now we don't need the person because the LLM models, they do the job fully from A to Z. So it's not just about augmenting, it's probably replacing. So that's why I was thinking, how do you, if you would paint the world that will come next, because I feel we are in a transition period and there's something coming. How would that world look like?
Human being have experimented all around. We exist. Homo sapiens exists since for 300 and 1,000 years, and we've been experimenting many disruptions.
Yeah.
That could be fire, that could be
Yeah.
the wheel, that could be many things. So if it comes to be replaced, not replaced, but some activities would be replaced, but not replacing human being. Human being would never be replaced, but an activity or a task could be
A
replaced
job,
in agents.
a specific job, like
Exactly. So why not? If that stuff could do it better than me, in a perfect manner, making my client satisfied, but also doing it fast. So
Yeah.
why not?
So then the follow-up question, Si Mohammed, is, so this happens when AI agent will replace some of the specific job descriptions, not everything. Some of them, they can do it fast, better, more qualitative. What happens to junior people who are in those domain expertise? What happens to them?
Well, they have to, for sure, they have to put themselves in the in that mindset that they should use the technology and maybe more. This
But
technology
nobody
can
will hire them. Like if I'm a company, I have, let's say, imagine, I'm just throwing this, even though it's not. Imagine, for example, content creation in marketing. So before I used to have a content creator for marketing. Today I can create any content at least, and then probably reviewed by a senior person before I publish it on social media. Today, a lot of companies will not hire a junior content creator because the job that the junior will do can be done fully by an LLM model. So the question is, what happens to those junior people, and how can we solve? If it's an issue, how can we solve this?
No, but
Because I heard a lot in
You're
the yeah.
you're right. But the issue is that is about our education program.
Mm-hmm.
Means that why should we train people, educate people to do something that's in the near future could be done by something else?
Mhm.
Something, I would say,
Mm.
someone, something else. I'll give you another example. I called one of my friends who is one of the best champion in Morocco, leading a software company, Algo, not to mention him. And I sent him a resume of someone who is 10 years seniority, very well qualified and with this experience in a certain language, .NET or something
Yeah.
like the Java or something like that. And I sent him the stuff, and he reverts back right now, writes after my message, told me, that we're not hiring people like this one. I told him why. He told me that because nowadays we're hiring juniors, but very experts in using Cloud Code
Yeah,
or
LLM models.
something else.
Okay.
That's not the same story, like the one you mentioned, content creation. But why are we still keeping that content creation, I don't know, program in our university
Because
curricula?
it's a very good observation and very good question. Education, the universities, the whole education system is far behind
That's the problem.
the innovation that is happening in
That's
technology.
the big problem.
And the gap is widening. It's becoming more and more. And the programs, in order for the programs in the universities and school to change, how many years it will take for them to
That's a big
put
story.
in.
That's a big story. I don't know if you heard about Singularity University. That's a university created in California by Salim Smail, Peter Diamandis, and Ray Kurzweil, who is the Google architect. And the problem is that university is not recognized by US education. Why? That's because they have their own curriculum. They will create the curriculum maybe, and 6 months later they will change it and create something else that is well maybe expected by people, by the ecosystem, by the economy, by companies. And still now we have to ask ourselves about those stated curricula and exist since a long time, but not responding to any needs in the ecosystem.
And the knowledge, I think traditionally you go to school to get knowledge, and the teacher has the knowledge that nobody else has. You have to go to the school to receive that knowledge.
Exactly.
But today the knowledge is out there.
Yes.
So then the question is, what are the human qualities that we need to put in our children, in the youngsters, so that they can use the knowledge out there and then progress in their life and in their career? Because I feel like today there are some qualities that are very, very important that probably related to the mindset that people need to develop more than taking all the knowledge which is already there. So what are those qualities that people should focus on, should develop?
You mentioned something very important, that is critical thinking and creative thinking. You have a survey conducted by the World Economic Forum. It's a yearly survey, and they would put and emphasize the major skills that people should know yearly. And creative thinking and critical thinking come first and second level. And for me, the teacher of the next years should be a facilitator. That should be someone who would be there to facilitate the knowledge maybe sought by those
LLM model.
students,
Yeah.
could be
It's like more,
learners.
yeah, challenge them,
That's
make
it,
them
exactly.
think about.
So we will be more in the oral, oral teaching than, paper-based teaching, but also the exam, the way we're doing exam, we're
Yeah,
examining, we're questioning knowledge. So the whole system should change, because, that wave is huge, maybe much, much, much bigger than what we think.
yeah,
So the whole system, the whole education system should be founded and should be re-questioned. And unfortunately, that debate is not there.
yeah. But who is gonna do it?
So for sure, the state is there should ourselves, parents, we have to. And maybe we have to build something that would be aligned about what we are seeing now. Technology is heavily there, and we have to take the advantage of that technology.
So, Mohammed, imagine today you just graduated. You just graduated, or you are just starting your, let's say, university, no, not before graduation. What would you focus on right now to be very exceptional at for you? Because you see in the next coming 5 years, the world will change. What would you imagine you start today? You are just gonna go to university. What would you focus on to learn and be very expert at?
So maybe question prior to that is that what kind of major or career am I choosing?
Exactly.
That's the question.
That's also a good question, a very good question. Yeah.
That's the question, because how is it impacted by nowadays technology? That's very important.
Actually, from a couple of friends, I got the same question, and I struggled to answer it because
Sure.
you're telling me, okay, because when we did, let's say, when we were in the preparatory courses to integrate the engineering school, you decide actually which industry. Is it computer science? Is it electronics? Is it
Exactly.
you decide which ones you will integrate, and you were asking me, and I couldn't answer the question.
Sure. Not
So
that
what's
easy.
your
No, but not that easy. Very complicated to answer that question, especially for your children if they're asking same question. For me, I don't know. I advise them, maybe for mine, I advise them to follow, and experiment themselves in finance. But finance would be will change tomorrow, thanks to those technology.
Yeah.
So it's very
But finance, is it like an industry that can actually be automated in the future or not?
well. Part of it could be automated.
Yeah, because a lot of people will say the practical jobs, the jobs where you use your hands, you have some
Yes.
creativity with your hands.
Yes.
Those jobs are very hard to replace.
Yes.
A lot of people will tell you, like, in few years, a plumber will actually be more important than a lawyer,
a carpenter, or
a carpenter.
Sure.
Yeah, because
Sure.
and today we are not there yet when it comes to robots, so that you can actually. But it's what else you think? Okay, finance. Is there any other industry that you feel?
No, but all industries will be impacted. Even that's plumber, even that's carpenter, because nowadays, you have those easy applications using videos, and a plumber could not. Yeah, some plumbers would be more effective than others. Some carpenters would be more effective than others, because they're using that technology and videos and this and that, and being helped and improved by the technology. So going back to your question, all the sectors and all jobs will be impacted by next and nowadays technology. So you have to be aware of it, and you have to use it for a good manner. And if you're a doctor, using technology and applications and AI and all that stuff, you'll be more effective than someone else who are not doing that. So
what is your advice to your young generation now?
So for sure they have to ask themselves. It's me about their their thoughts about the sector or the
Mm-hmm.
major they would like to experiment themselves and practice, and how it's gonna be impacted.
Mm.
Then maybe accept it because it's not technology against a human. It is, as we talked about it, it would be there would be a complementarity about technology and human being, and use it for a good manner, and use it to improve what you're doing. Whatever it is, that could be medicine, that could be finance, that
Yeah.
could be
Okay.
coding, or whatever it is.
Great. So I want to talk a little bit about the transformation in Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
I think you are one of the advocate of we need to start, let's say, producing, creating, be an exporter of skill set of tools. So the question is, how can Morocco move from consumer to a creator when it comes to digital tools? And you have a couple of articles about this as well.
Yes. So first, if you asked me, I don't know, 10 years ago, I would tell you that I'm still nowadays, I'm fond of the open source systems
Mm-hmm.
when talking about technology.
Mm-hmm.
And we can do more with less, and we can also push the digital industry towards open source. It is something used by the whole world. Some states they choose to go on open source softwares, whatever the system is. That could be in security, that could
Mm.
be an ERP, whatever it is, and we can build something. We can build huge things. We can push industries, startups, and fintechs, and SMEs in technology to build about open source and to push it to be used by companies, and that's something that could be democratized, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the good for the and that's good for the ecosystem. The question is also could be also question today about AI, and we have also some open source LLMs that could be used, and again adapted on
Mm.
our context, environment, culture, dialects, etc., and push those maybe small companies, but also startups to implement and create something, design something for our ecosystem. So my orientation is to invest in open source, could be AI or something else, and build about all that and democratize the access to technology. And that would come through the cloud computing. Cloud computing is something very important. We are a little bit lagging behind because that's something we're talking about the cloud since 2008,
Mm.
2009. And a lot of states went nowadays on what we call the cloud first. Cloud first is putting something behind and say to SMEs, instead of buying your
Yeah.
hardware and
Yeah.
software and
Infrastructure.
stuff, just plug on the internet and you have a software used as an ERP, and everyone is happy. It is maybe installed and somewhere at a data center, and companies, small companies, not having maybe the means to buy licenses, they could use that software, and everyone will be will gain in the stuff, and that's something to push us Moroccan industry,
Mm.
and we can be also a provider, a technology provider for other companies that could other states that could be in Africa or elsewhere,
No.
and that's how we can claim to be a hub of technology, of AI, of this and that.
Do you think that Morocco can be a world class in the technology sector?
We can, but still we need to move to action. A
Mm.
lot of people now are claiming to be the hub of AI, the hub of
Yeah.
this and that and this and that, but still the move to action as we talked about it, the move to action is little bit taking time.
Yeah.
It's not there. People are not pushing to be that major actor, but we have all the means. We have people. We have the skills. We are a multilingual company, a state, and we can go ahead.
What else can Morocco be like world class on?
So I think that we have that, you know, our time zone is very good, and we are close to the Middle East. We are close also to Africa, and we can also a good provider to Europe, but also to US, and that position is very nice. We have to take advantage, take benefits of that position. Um, what's lacking maybe is the right strategy, but also the move to action. Maybe
Probably a close alignment
willing.
between government and also companies,
That's it.
so that to bridge the gap between
Exactly.
where business is growing and what the institutions
Exactly.
are doing. Um, so we are getting close to the end of this episode, but I have a lot of. I actually didn't even cover.
Really?
I didn't cover even
Still?
20% of what I had planned to cover. So we need. I was just, I was just surfing the waves. But one of the subjects I wanted to talk about is actually yourself, and we didn't cover it at all so far. When we look at Si Mohamed Saad, we see a very successful person, mashallah.
Yeah.
You have done a lot during your, more than 30 years. But as we discussed in the break, people will only see success. They will see the last version of you, which is today, but they probably have not seen what you have gone through every single day, every single week, every single month into today. So what I wanted to ask, if you can share, some of the failures you had in your journey so far. Let's start from there.
So, yeah, as I mentioned, yes, I'm a little bit embarrassed to talk about myself. You know, I'm a tiny piece of, piece of the puzzle in
But
that.
probably to put it in context, so that because we discussed it, so for the audience, the idea behind talking about failures, doubts, what was breaking, is that to explain to people that success is never a smooth line. It doesn't come like
No.
there's always ups and downs. There's always, it means that if you are still struggling, it doesn't mean that you will not be successful. Or so I think sharing these stories help people, because it's actually, this is exactly what I'm facing today. So I can also go through it, and I can come off it even stronger.
You're right. You're right. So yes, for sure, success comes over the scars you have, and I think in the career you have absolutely, yes, failures are there, successes are there. Success is not, as we talked about it, is not a final point. You have um, uh, to build on those little successes, but also failures. So, like anyone, I did my best for myself, for my family, those surrounding me, for my company, for my country. That's why I have never left my country, because I'm doing a lot that could be in my company, or through the association I'm leading nowadays. Failures, yes, for sure, that could be in the family with your children, for sure. You have some, at certain time, ask yourself, is it the right way you're doing stuff? Is it the right way you're educating your children? Because for sure, as you mentioned, life is not a smooth way of doing stuff, and most important is to build upon the failures. In my careers, yes, I have nowadays I'm at my fifth company through through these 34 years of seniority, and there are some company where I spent maybe 2 years, and that was not a failure. That was something when I stepped in at the first since the first day, I knew that that was not the ecosystem I would like to develop myself in. So I built on those 2 years, maybe in terms of training, certification, and this and that, to jump to a better company, a better ecosystem. Um, Maybe the final word is that we have to be hungry. Hunger is very, very important. The day you're gonna lose that hunger,
Mm,
let's say, make sure that maybe you'll be dead alive,
mm,
and that's not good. So in this low word, قُلْ اعْمَلُوا, so قُلْ اعْمَلُوا is very
mm,
important. Then God and his prophet and all those people were watch out and would help you. قُلْ اعْمَلُوا فَسَيَرَى اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ وَرَسُولُهُ وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ. So, but that hunger is اعْمَلُوا. So you
mm,
have to be hungry and you have to ask for more. If you're not given what you deserve, you have to ask for it. And it's not there, change the air. So that's
mm,
my motto, is to be hungry, to ask for more, um, to deserve what you to ask for what you deserve. And if it's not there, change the air, and the air is much better
mm.
elsewhere.
One of my friend is always telling me no little plans, no little
Yes,
plans
yes,
all the
yes,
time.
yes,
So you always have to go outside your comfort zone
exactly.
and try things that challenge yourself,
Sure.
that challenge yourself and what you are doing. So what?
If I may
Yes.
maybe just advise maybe a book for your audience, is The Magic of Thinking Big.
Yeah.
David Schwartz's book. It's amazing. It's a state of mind, and this is one of the maybe best books I have read, and have offered it also to many of my friends. And that's a motto.
Mm.
That's state of mind.
So what belief you had before that you changed today?
Um, what kind of beliefs, or what's belief maybe I had when I was maybe young or in the middle of my career? Um, I think that since I graduated from an engineering school, having some international certification, things will be easy.
Mm,
It's not, uh, because this is the minimum you have to achieve. But spending, long days, maybe spending nights, achieving, being surrounded by also people you put your trust in them. This is as is maybe not more important, but as important as your certifications. So this is important. Maybe to be surrounded by people, to make them also grow, because a leader should be sure that the other people around you are growing, and you prepare them, and you're going to achieve yourself by the achievements of that, making those people growing. Again, Leaders Eat Last is one of Simon Sinek books, and it's full of good lessons when talking about leadership.
Um, so, and a question I usually ask the guests, and I will ask you the same. So, today, what does success mean for you today?
Well, yeah, success is maybe it's an inner state when you achieve something. Maybe when you see the children growing and you are proud of them, this is important. When you see maybe the not satisfaction, but in the eyes of the others that are surrounding you, not only satisfaction but fortune,
Happiness.
joy. When you see joy in the eyes of the others, this is for me the upper state of maybe achieving something. Is it a success? I don't know, but still that would comfort you, and but give you that inner peace, that maybe you have achieved something. Is it a success? I don't know, but when you're that could be easy, that could be a piece of advice given to someone who is coming in a bad state, coming to ask for advice. You could not assess how that 10 minutes, half an hour you gave to that guy,
Mm.
uh,
Transform.
what does this mean? But for him, this is tremendous
Mm.
and this is huge. And but also sometimes you will receive a resume on your WhatsApp and you send it to someone else to say, yes, please, if you have a position for that guy. Sometimes it's only a message, it's only a WhatsApp
So
transfer
for the
message.
other person,
But
so
for the other, it is huge. And if it leads to something, and alhamdulillah, most of time when talking about myself, it leads to something. When you don't put any constraints transferring that resume to someone, not asking for you know much something very big, but it could lead to someone, to that guy, it could lead to a job position that he would gain maybe in the next months. And this is it a success? I don't know, but it's that joy, feeling in the eyes of the others. This that's having no price.
absolutely. So help other people surrounding you, make them happy,
Sure.
and that you will be successful by doing that, of course.
Yeah.
Um, so, see, Muhammad, we are almost at the end. Was there any question you wish, say, I asked you that I didn't ask?
Well, I didn't see times flying, but I would thank you a lot about you prepared very well the podcast, and that's because the podcast is very deep. We had a lot of maybe subjects we developed, maybe many to develop. And thank you very much for your listening, for your audience. And yeah, maybe we have covered maybe the appropriate subjects we had to.
It was exciting. I learned a lot. There is a lot of conversation, a lot of wealth in the conversation as well. And I'm pretty sure, just like you mentioned, when you had a CV and you transferred it to someone, pretty sure you just did the same here
For sure.
because you shared a lot of wisdom that the audience will definitely benefit from and will make their life easier. And of course, will help them in their journey of life.
Sure.
So thank you very much for the time.
Thank you, sir.
And it will be a pleasure to have another episode to go deeper into other subjects. Thank you very much.
Long life to your podcast from
Thank you.
zero to N.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.